teams that I'm Maya and I'm a founding engineer at 14 AI.
Hi, I'm Nivedha. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Pageloop.
Hi. And today we're going to be talking about how to design smarter support content and structure your knowledge base for fast-moving teams using AI agents. So before we get started with the content of our workshop, share in the chat where you're calling from and your favorite season.
What's yours, Maya?
My favorite season, I would have to say summer. Summer or that transition between spring and summer.
Oh, I love that. That's my favorite. That was going to be my answer. Yeah.
So we have great winter, San Francisco, winter for skiing. Love winter.
Yeah, I grew up in the south of India, so skiing and winter and snow are like alien concepts to me. But lovely.
I'm from the UK. Oh, welcome. And summer, amazing. SF, all seasons. Awesome. So before we get started with the agenda and with the content of the workshop, I want to start with a little information about why knowledge bases matter specifically here at 14 AI and Pageloop. So we believe that great AI support starts with a great knowledge base. It's not just about surfacing information, it's about creating trust with users through accurate, timely, and grounded responses. That means using a knowledge base that's always up to date, structured for retrieval, and maintained as a living system. This kind of foundation can reduce your manual work for your documentation and support teams, and helps prevent that garbage in, garbage out problem, and even contributes to SEO and GEO performance. Most importantly, it ensures that both your customers and your support team get the best experience possible. So here's what we're going to be covering during our workshop. So first, I'm going to start with the foundations, so what AI knowledge bases are and why they matter. Then we're going to have a discussion about designing for AI and support, so how to structure content that works both for AI agents and support team members. And then we're going to dive into some implementation tips, so some tactical guidance for categorization, structure, and retrieval. And then we're going to end with some practical next steps, looking ahead, what comes next. And then we're going to have a Q&A and we're going to close. So let's get started with foundations. So what are AI knowledge bases and why do they matter? So what's an AI knowledge base? It's a centralized library of content, articles, FAQs, guides, and SOPs. And so as a note throughout this workshop, we're going to be referencing AI KBs. But what we mean by this is continuously updated and maintained knowledge bases. And these are designed to help teams scale information without duplicating effort, used both by humans, so support agents, customers, support team members, and AI agents. And they can help you enable faster, more accurate responses. So what is the role of AI knowledge bases in fast-moving teams? So think of it as the AI's memory source. So AI agents rely on written context to answer correctly. So knowledge bases are their memory foundation. It also helps with rapid product evolution. So fast-moving teams that ship often, that means that their knowledge bases become stale quickly, and then AI agents can start failing by giving outdated responses. It also helps with reducing hallucination. So it anchors your agents in real, trusted information for accurate and consistent responses.
Okay, thank you for, laying the ground. Um, like Maya said, AI in support, we've seen now over and over again that with a good AI knowledge base, you're able to scale your AI in support much more effectively, especially given that today we are able to ship features really, really quickly. So if you are working at a software company where your product's moving really fast, this becomes super critical to look at. So we're going to look at how you can design your AI knowledge base and use it for support and scale both of them really, really effectively now. Yeah, we're good to go. Next slide. Awesome. So why does an AI KB matter in driving good support outcomes? We all know that great customer experience forms a really huge basis for customers to keep coming back to using us, to form trust, and to continue to build on that trust. And when we are talking about implementing AI in customer support, there are a lot of gaps where people don't trust the AI. And a big part of that, the contributor to that, is using a good knowledge base that's always updated and maintained well. So, what we mean by AI KBs driving good support outcomes is to continuously have higher and higher CSAT. If your customers are asking a question to your AI chatbot or AI agents, then it's always giving you the right answers. It automatically leads to higher CSATs, and fewer reopen tickets. So if your customers are able to very quickly get those answers, they are very satisfied because they want speed as well as accuracy in information. Um, the second part of that is resolution rates. We When we're hiring more people for our support team to scale with our user base scaling, it really empowers the newer folks on our team to resolve more complex issues independently without having to constantly rely on someone else on their team to help them figure things out. If we're able to build a knowledge base that has answers to all those questions, and it also subsequently reduces the burnout of senior, CS experts on the team, because as a if you've done customer support for a long time, you definitely know that a huge part of your role is not just to serve your customers but also your internal team members, because you have so much knowledge about what those common issues are, and you're constantly trying to answer questions from your team members, especially if they're new people, and that leads to a lot of burnout. So a well-maintained knowledge base basically tackles all of these aspects, which is, hey, I want to serve my customers, I want to serve my new people who are joining the team. And it's not just your customer support team, it's also new engineers, new product managers, anyone who's joining your team who needs to know how your company works, the AIKB serves. And finally, to reduce your own burnout. So, a good AIKB, just to summarize, basically has very clear and concise articles. So, one thing with AI agents is they get confused very easily. So to write a good knowledge base that relies on consistent good answers is to have individual articles that don't have overlap. So you don't want to have two different articles talking about how you process refunds, because it is going to confuse your AI agent as to which article it needs to pick up. So you want to make sure that they are very clear, concise, and there are no overlaps between articles. And of course, with things changing rapidly in your product, you want to make sure that there is a process in place to regularly review and update. So there's no longer an option for us to write once and forget forever. And finally, using jargons, especially if it's very internal facing. So if you have like a abbreviation that all of you internally use, and if you're going to use it on your AIKB, the AI agent's not going to understand what that means. So you want to avoid using internal jargons. And finally, uh, designing for retrievability actually means that you're also designing it for human reading, because think about it, right? All our AI or like large language models are built based on human content that was written on the internet. So which is how we're able to use natural language to ask questions and get answers from AI agents. So like think about your chat GPT, all of that is built on human delivered content on the internet. So if you're designing something for an AIKB, it's also meant for humans at the end of the day. So you're not actually like building something separately for AI and separately for humans. It's all one and the same thing. So this is a big favorite topic of mine. And if you've not heard about the concept of KCS, I definitely recommend checking it out. It's been such a huge game changer for support. But in the interest of time, I'll very quickly talk about what it is. When you're resolving support tickets, your agents are able to go back and update or add new information to your knowledge base when they start seeing patterns in what type of questions are coming up. So that's what, in a nutshell, KCS or knowledge centered system actually means. So KCS actually is falling short in fast shipping teams and when we're using AI agents, because they rely on support tickets to sort of surface more and more for the knowledge to be then backfilled. But the delay is okay for humans. But when you're implementing AI in your customer support, you want to make sure that your AI agent always has up to date information, because even once you ship a new feature or you've changed your billing process or your refund process, and if that document is not updated real time, your AI agent is already giving wrong answers to your customers and they're going to be confused immediately. So if there's something that's changing, the documentation has to be updated almost instantaneously. And KCS is falling short in that process right now. So we need more and more proactive systems. So you've already built a lot of relationships probably with your product managers and your engineering teams, your design teams. Now that relationship is going to make it much more important, because you're able to get that information about what's changing in your product well beforehand, so that you're able to go and change your documentation before the changes go out to your customers, because your AI agent is going to be relying on that documentation updated for your customers to then ask questions and still get the right answers as of today. So whatever the real time status is.
Now we're going to move on to section 3, implementation tips. So we're going to share some tactical guidance to get started with your AI knowledge base. So, first tip is categorization. So, organizing articles by function, like for example, you can organize it for billing, onboarding, troubleshooting, feature documentation, API references. And some of the benefits of this is that agents can pull from relevant categories only, can also help with preventing outdated or misleading info from creeping into their answers, and it makes agent queries more targeted and less noisy.
So, a quick exercise. Now that we've talked about, how you want AI knowledge bases to have distinct, concise, clear information, and Maya just talked about how categorization plays an important role. This is a very quick activity. We'd love for you to like share your thoughts in the chat. What do you see about the categorization of this knowledge base? There are some things that are missing here. What do you think are the problems with this categorization? I'll give you all a quick, maybe a couple of hints. One is the nesting of categorizations. The other is how you name the category itself. Is it clear? Do you think AI will understand? Um,
Great.
Okay, yeah. Product updates are buried inside the features category, making them hard to find. Absolutely. Um, that's spot on. And product updates is confusing. Like, yeah, what does that mean? And how do I connect this category is unclear. Exactly. Like what does that mean? So if it's not clear for you as a human, it is not clear for the AI. That's how I would always think about structuring knowledge. If I'm going to give this piece of documentation or this knowledge base to someone in my team or to my customer, are they able to actually figure out easily what this actually means? And if they have trouble, or if you have trouble understanding, you can be rest assured that your AI is also going to have trouble. There are overlaps of knowledge in several articles. Exactly. Yeah. Spot on, Daria. Love that. And feature changes and love that. I think we've you all have found all of the gaps at this point. Um, um, yeah. Perfect. Awesome.
So now let's talk about what a well-structured FAQ AI knowledge base article looks like. So it has a short descriptive title, which means it can clearly identify the topic or question being addressed. It has a clear problem statement. So this means defining the user question or issue being solved. It also features a step-by-step resolution. So that means that it provides a clear, actionable solution with examples when helpful. And then also you could have internal notes, but this is optional. So add it at the bottom, outside agent visibility if needed, just for your team. And now let's also talk about why Q&A formats work well. So in terms of natural language alignment, it mirrors how users and agents actually ask questions, as we mentioned a little bit earlier today. So, trying to mimic users' language when they ask questions. You can also, here's also another tip that we have is try prompting ChatGPT to format articles in FAQ style using previous support tickets. It's very good at doing that and coming up with a good structure. So Q&A formats, they also have a solution-oriented structure. So this encourages writing that's directly focused on resolving specific issues. And it's also a snippet-friendly format. So supports snippet-style retrieval for faster answers in systems. And then we also want to talk a little bit about what LLM's TXT is and how does it help. So you can think about it as a configuration file for your AI knowledge. So it's a standardized file that tells AI agents where to look in your knowledge base. So helps agents ignore irrelevant folders, like for example, in legal or marketing. It can also help improve grounding and it can help reduce retrieval from irrelevant sources. And also it can encourage your team to think about how you expose knowledge to AI.
So with that, our second exercise is we want you to look at this article, use some of the tips that we just shared earlier, and tell us what you're seeing missing and how you would improve this. Take a second to read through this. So the task is, this article needs help. Answers are not coming out properly about this particular topic when you're trying to use your AI agent to, get answers about this. And the article's talking about how to schedule an email in Gmail. So what would you change about this article to make it clearer? Hmm. Interesting. So no introduction or overview. It starts with the steps immediately. So as a new user, if this is the first article I'm landing on and I'm using Gmail for the first time, and I open this and I'm like, the first thing is open Gmail. There's nothing else apart from the title that I can go off of. Again, we're trying to think about AI agents understand information very similar to how humans understand information. So if you were to open this article and start reading it, what would you feel? Images speak louder than words. Fantastic. Um, I think today's AI agents, if you think about your ChatGPT or your Claude, they are really good at multimodal, information, which means that they can work really well with text and images. So it definitely helps to add that context. Content isn't well structured or formatted. Do you want to double click on that a little bit? What would you say? What would you change about the structure or the format? But that's the crux of it. Absolutely. Another tip or like hint I can give you is typically when you start opening or reading through the steps of how to do something, you do want a little bit of an introduction. So if you see on this article, there are steps and then there is a description saying scheduling emails in Gmail is helpful for sending messages at a later time. Now, if you think about an AI agent, that is looking at this article and say a customer is asked, hey, like I need to schedule an email, how do I do that? The first things it sees is open Gmail and click compose, but it's not giving it's going to reach the point of seeing the overview much later, but that's already too late. So you want the AI agent to be able to see the overview first. So in terms of the structure, absolutely, I would move the overview first and then the steps next. Awesome. Let's go.
And now we're going to share some practical next steps and also looking ahead. So, how you can actually improve your knowledge bases this week, and also what's coming next in terms of workshops and information. So here are some practical takeaways. Here's how you can start improving your knowledge base today or tomorrow. So first, you can start off with analyzing support patterns. So for example, you can export the last 3 months of tickets to identify most common topics in your support chats. And from there, you can pare it down to start writing some support articles on the missing gaps you've identified. You can also restructure your categories. You can add categories that mirror your support structure, for example, adding onboarding, billing, core product features. And as we mentioned earlier, consider using ChatGPT to suggest categories based on your recent support tickets. You can also start with rewriting just one article. So commit to writing one article in a Q&A format this week. So think a great tip for this is thinking of agents as readers and retrievers and design for both. And then maintain consistency. So, like in previous webinars and today, ChatGPT is really good at achieving consistency across knowledge base edits. And some key takeaways that we discussed today. So, AI agents are only as good as the knowledge they're grounded in. So, it's important to be proactive. Fast-moving teams need proactive, structured, and current knowledge bases. And you can also start small. Begin this week, today, tomorrow by writing one article in a Q&A format and reviewing your current categories. And there's also a dual benefit. So good knowledge bases benefit both your AI system and your human support team. And looking ahead, so we had today's workshop where you learned how to structure and maintain your knowledge bases that serve both your AI agents and your human support team. And now it's time for your practice. So review and rewrite the knowledge articles in your own knowledge base. And you can do this by categorizing and converting into a Q&A format, looking over your categories, using ChatGPT to help maintain consistency. And we also have another workshop next Wednesday at 9 a.m. PT. And this one is going to be about QA. So designing smarter QA, AI quality systems for customer support teams. So we're going to learn and discuss how to build lightweight, scalable QA systems. And also there's a link to that in the chat right now. So you can already get started by signing up for that. And so if you found today helpful, you're definitely going to want to join us next week. So now we have a little bit of time for Q&A. So now it's time, you can ask your questions. We're going to answer your specific knowledge-based questions, put them all in the chat. And we'll also send you a link to a blog post about today's session. And if you want to reach out, if you need any feedback, contact us at our emails right here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Um,
Thank you.
So I think maybe since we have a little bit of time, um, I think a couple of knowledge bases that I really enjoyed seeing are Slack, Zapier. I also know that the teams within these companies have a lot of emphasis on keeping their knowledge base updated consistently. And that's how they're able to add AI to their customer support and scale it really effectively. It does take a lot of effort. And even at Pageloop, I've been a ex support leader, and so I know the pain of keeping knowledge updated, and I think it's just become harder and harder in today's day to do that. But what are some challenges you all have had? Are there yeah, absolutely. Scribe for KB, yeah, for sure. It does help quite a bit because they do give you access to writing with AI, and it makes the process of writing much, much faster. I think one side of a knowledge base is to continuously add new topics, which is where using your existing support tickets is such a rich repository of writing those articles really easily. So I highly encourage exporting maybe say the last 3 months or 6 months of your support tickets and putting it into ChatGPT to ask it to figure out, okay, what are topics I need to write about, and then using something like Scribe to actually write your articles very, very quickly. And then to the other side of the knowledge base maintenance is to also keep your existing knowledge updated. Features are changing, maybe you're improving how a particular feature was previously done. So that's also just as important as writing new articles. Um, Ooh, drawbacks. Yeah, I love that question. Let's see. Do you have any thoughts on that, Maya? Or do you want me to take that?
Drop. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, I don't mind. So I think one thing with AI writing that I've noticed that you should all be just wary of a little bit is it can, if you specifically, if you have like a style guide that you want to use, it doesn't always remember. So if you think about it on ChatGPT, you might have told it like some information a very, very long time ago, and it'll randomly pull that knowledge in, even though you told it like, hey, forget about that. I don't want that anymore. So that does tend to happen with AI. So you want to be careful in giving your instructions very, very clearly. So even if you've given that same instruction multiple times, like make sure that the most important pieces of writing a new article, you are like prompting it well. So I know, the team here did another webinar a couple of weeks ago where they talked about good prompting techniques, and one of that is meta prompting. So that's something I really love using. It makes my life so easy. So to basically ask ChatGPT to write the prompt for you, to say, hey, I'm trying to write an article and this is my style guide. I want you to write a prompt that will keep all of these intact. So that's definitely something I would use. um, yeah, I think using ChatGPT or Claude or whatever tool, like even if your company uses Google Workspace, Gemini is amazing. They have such a large context window, so you could do a lot. You could feed like hundreds and hundreds of support tickets, and it'll still be able to like tell you, it'll be able to take the context of all of them without forgetting information. Yeah, for sure. Any other questions? What's really a game changer to be able to get conversational answers from your knowledge base while you're on call with a client? Oh, that's so interesting. So when you're using support on call, I think that's a really cool strategy. Not all support happens on text format, so that's really smart. Yeah, especially if you're using, like, if you get like a transcript of the call at the end of it, that's really rich information to work off of. Any favorite like knowledge bases you all have seen out there in the wild that or maybe great support? One that I really love is Webflow. If you've used Webflow and you've used their support, like their AI agent support is really really cool, and it all comes down to maintaining that good knowledge base that's constantly updated. But anything in the wild that you all have spotted? Or maybe any other tips. But we're also coming up at time. Um, unless anyone else has questions, you know where to reach us. I'm sure we're all down to chatting more about this offline outside of the webinar too. So please feel free to reach out to us anywhere. I'm also on LinkedIn here. So if you want to connect with me, I'd love to chat more. But yeah. Mhm.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for having me here.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Wesley. Thank
Wesley.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
Nishant.
you.
Thanks, Corey. Thanks, Michael. Awesome. All of you have a great day.
Thank you, Daria.
Mm, thank you.